Jack Della Maddalena versus Carlos Prates takes place this weekend at the RAC Arena in Western Perth, Australia. And I'm going to be going through the entire card, giving you my picks, predictions, and bets. And man, this is a fire card, I have to be honest with you. I am really excited. We've been waiting for a fight night like this one. But us Western Hemisphere viewers are in for a treat, but we're not in for a treat because we're boned with the timing, man. This card starts at 1 a.m. PST, and the main card starts at 4 a.m. PST. So I'm going to have to pull an all-nighter for this one, but it's going to be well worth it. Let's start off with the early prelim opener of Cody Steele versus Don Marfan. Don Marfan is on a huge win streak right now, with his last 3 wins being on the road to the UFC. Cody Steele, on the other hand, came in as a minus 400 favorite on his UFC debut night, and he failed the mark, losing to Rong Zhu of all people. However, that fight was an absolute war, and it was very entertaining, so I'll give him that. But you know, in this fight, I'm going to lean Cody Steele here. I'm going to go Cody Steele by submission. I'll tell you why. Listen, Cody Steele, I was sitting there yelling at my TV, even though I picked Rong Zhu as an underdog, which was a sneaky call. I was yelling at my TV that this guy needs to shoot a takedown. He was very, very ignorant in that fight. But I have to be honest with you here. He's a younger guy. He's 31. I get that. But he's new to his UFC career. That was his UFC debut. I think the excitement and the lights got to him, where he was making a little bit of foolish decision making and gave us a more entertaining fight rather than a well thought out decision. But he knows he needs to win this fight and regain his status. And on the side of Don Marfan Street Buddha, dude, this guy's got some mean Muay Thai. I love it because I'm a big Muay Thai enthusiast myself. I train Muay Thai. That is my striking base. And I'll give it to him. Don Marfan has some great clinch game. He's got great dirty kicks. He's got some good precision hands. But here's the thing. He's 9-2 with a lot of his competition being not the greatest Southeastern Asian regional scene fighters. And so even his last 3 wins, and even though they are in the UFC, it is the road to UFC, which is a glorified regional scene in my opinion. And I don't think he's fought an absolute meat cannon that there is in a guy like Cody Steele. And I think that Cody Steele is going to be a little bit too much with his pressure striking, with his pressure grappling game, where he's going to be able to introduce Don Marfan to the grappling. Because listen, this guy's not just some jiu-jitsu nerd where he likes to accept positions and fight off his back. No, this is a guy who establishes takedowns. And I think that this is going to be the clear indicator in this fight. And that, for that reason, we are going to have to pick Cody Steele to start off the night with a finish. And we're going to pick him by sub in round 2. Because I think that after some evading of the striking, you know. Moving up the card, we have Jonathan Mescliffe taking on Themba Gorimbo. Man, banger after banger on this guy. Jonathan Mescliffe is coming off that spectacular win against Oban Elliott, where I picked Jonathan Mescliffe to win. Another sneaky call by Lazy MMA, but let me just stop glazing and let me just get to this analysis. Listen, Themba Gorimbo, this guy's got a great story behind him, but let's talk about his technique. You know, his story's sad. You know, his family's disowned him. The Rock sponsored him when he was homeless and fighting in the UFC, whatever. But he's coming off 2 losses. One of them being against Vicente Luque by sub, where he got dropped, where he was getting exposed in the striking compartment, and eventually he was submitted. And before that, it was, after that, it was Jeremiah Wells, where he was just pieced up from range. Listen, Jonathan Mescliffe hits like a truck. Jonathan Mescliffe is also a presence in the cage. He is a big dude, ladies and gentlemen. This young buck, this 27-year-old, is in there to scrap. He welcomes the scrap, and Themba Gorimbo doesn't. Themba Gorimbo likes to have clean fights and likes the fight to go the distance, likes to pick at his opponents, but when his opponents bring the pressure to him, man, he does not respond well to shots. Considering the guy's also 35, you know, he's had some damage in his career. I think Jonathan Mescliffe is going to go out there and make a statement piece in West Perth, Australia, on Saturday night, and I think he's going to go out there and finish Themba Gorimbo in the first round. I really think he's going to go out there and just shoot his lights out, and that's why we're going to have to lean Jonathan Mescliffe to win this fight. He is a big favorite though, but you know, he kind of deserves it, especially after that performance against Oban Elliott, who's a great level competition. Moving up the card, we have Wes Schultz versus Ben Johnson. Now this is a stinker. Okay, listen, man, Wes Schultz, I went with the sneaky, crafty dog pick of Wes Schultz by decision because this guy does have smothering wrestling, but he's not an MMA fighter. He doesn't take shots well. His last fight against Demian Piñas, where I picked Wes Schultz because I thought he was going to be able to establish his grappling, but bro, this guy, he crumbled to a shot. And I get that Demian Piñas hits hard, but you're an MMA fighter. You're supposed to deal with resilience and change up your game plan. And it feels like if this guy doesn't get to use his game plan off rip, if you don't let him establish his game plan, he's going to crumble. So I have to lean him very, very marginally, though, because Ben Johnson is a 36-year-old debutant, 5-1 unexperienced 185er. And I won't say they're throwing him to the wolves. It's just like, this is not a spot I feel like he's earned at an opportunity to come into the UFC. I mean, his regional scene level comp was John Martin Fraser, 7-3, and he got that sub, but that was 2 years ago. This guy's been on a hiatus for 2 years. He's had cage rust. He's fighting a young guy who needs a win, who's more hungry. And I'm kind of surprised that Wes Schultz here is a moderate-sized underdog, because Ben Johnson, man, like, are we really going to put our faith in this debutant because he's in his home straight of Australia? No, I don't think so. And that's why we're going to have to pick Wes Schultz by decision. I think the grappling is going to be too much for a guy like Ben Johnson. And I wouldn't be surprised if Wes Schultz is even able to lock up a sub, because this guy's levels ahead of him and he's younger than him. He's sharper than him. And I don't think Ben Johnson has the pop in his shots that he needs to put down a guy like Wes Schultz. Which is a kind of a crafty call, bro. We'll see. We'll see what happens, man. Moving up the card, we have a great fight with Kobe Thickness taking on Vince Morales. Vince Morales is on a skid, but don't let that skid fool you. One of them was against Raul Rosas Jr., where he gave him an absolute war. Oh, it wasn't a war. I'm just glazing here. I'll be honest with you. He was just able to evade the sub threats, and he was all over Raul Rosas Jr. in the striking. And he gave him a scrap, which is very impressive at his age. Before that, Elijah Smith, another great prospect. And before that, Taylor Lupus, which is not a great loss. But listen, on the side of Kobe Slickness, his claim to fame is that he lost to Alexandre Topuria by UD, and then after that he won against Josias Moussasis. But the thing is, man, I get that this guy's Volk's protege, but I don't see necessarily anything that's too impressive on the side of Kobe Thickness. You know, he's got good wrestling. His striking is slow. It's kind of sharp. It's very Volk-like, where it's very based on its fundamentals. You know, I compare these guys in an analogy to guys like Nikola Jokic in the NBA, where guys are so heavily invested in their fundamentals, it takes care of everything else. And that's who Kobe Thickness is. But the thing is, to be a guy like that, you have to be superb at the fundamentals, and I don't think necessarily he is. Listen, on Tapology it says I picked Morales by decision, but that's me trying to be crafty. But I have to lean Kobe Thickness in terms of age, but it's not a confident pick. And I wouldn't be surprised if Vince Morales is able to steal this from him here and force a 29-28 split decision, because in the striking compartment, dude, Vince Morales is going to be the faster guy, but I'd say Kobe Thickness is going to be a more sharper guy, the more accurate guy, the guy who's also like more conservative with his energy. But I think the grappling of Kobe Thickness, it's not designed to hold you down, and Vince Morales is a goddamn cobra on the ground, and he's going to be slick, and he might be able to evade those positions. And I'm leaving Kobe Thickness because it is early in the week for now. You know, come fight night, I will let you guys know if anything changes. But, you know, there's a lot of concerns on the side of Kobe Thickness, and I don't see what everybody else sees. I don't see anything that's particularly impressive in him. He is a younger guy, and, you know, maybe he's got to have time to develop. But we will see. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to pick Kobe Thickness for now by split decision. But listen, that was a really on the border call there. I don't want to talk shit, but beware of any of these Kobe Thickness supporters. Moving up the card, we have Jacob Malkoun taking on Gerald GM3 Mearshart. I love GM3. He is notorious for getting his ass whooped and then throwing up a goddamn triangle when you least expect it and subbing you. Okay. And he's taking on a guy like on the side of Jacob Malkoun, where Jacob Malkoun has really great wrestling, but he has wrestling to score points. He takes you down necessarily. He doesn't hold you down for too long on the ground. He has very fundamental boxing. He likes to chip away at his opponent. He loves extending that jab out there and popping it out. Pop. He's a great fighter, but he's very simple. Nothing too particularly impressive, but he's coming off that great win against Torres Finney, but we all knew that Torres Finney's low-key kind of ass. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen this guy hit the pads, and I wouldn't say it was too impressive a win, but he's coming off a huge hiatus, because prior to that, he won against Underput Swiss by KO, but I think he shot out his knee, so he had to get surgery, and so it was a good bounce-back win. But in this fight, dude, he's a -1,000. It's Jacob Malkoun, guys. This is some 31-year-old outside of the rankings. He's not some prospect at middleweight. Like, I'm not sitting here and trying to bullshit you guys. I don't think he's some prospect whatsoever. My battery just went low, but we'll ignore that. And so I'm going to pick GM3 by miracle submission here. And I think he might upset Jacob Malkoun in his home turf. Listen, if you want me to be intelligent and be like, what is most likely to happen? Jacob Malkoun could come out there and even secure himself a KO win, because he was chipping at Torres Finney. If he chips at Gerald Mearshart, who has no chin, he could chin Gerald Mearshart. But my thing is, Gerald Meerschaert, when he gets to the ground, he is a cobra, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jacob Malkoun does what Maddalena did, which is get overzealous. And oftentimes when these fighters get overzealous, it does not matter if you're winning that fight up until that point. You have given up a bunch of holes, and a lot of people that are veterans, like how Jai Herbert was against Maddalena, they take advantage of those brief lapses and holes. And I think a guy like Gerald Meerschaert could do that and could throw up a miracle GM3 sub win. And so we're gonna lean him. We're gonna lean him in this fight, and we're gonna pick Gerald Meerschaert by submission. I have to fix this brightness issue right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is unprofessional, if I'm being honest with you here. Battery's low, but that's not going to stop us from making these picks. You know the vibes, bro. Let's go back to the fights. Moving up the card, we have Junior Tafa versus Kevin Christian. I can't believe Junior Tafa is still in the UFC, but this is what we're doing in the Big 26. I guess because he's Samoan and he looks cool. Keep him in. Gets whooped left, right, and center, but it's funny because both these guys are coming off a submission loss against Billy Alicana. But the funny thing is, Junior Tafa was doing pretty good in the first round. I picked Billy Alicana by submission in that fight, and even though he did get the submission, I was low-key shitting my pants there. I thought it was a revitalized Junior Tafa. In the striking compartment, this guy legitimately does have a lot of talent. I cannot sit here and bullshit you. This guy is a pretty decent striker, kickboxer, heavy-handed Samoan dude. He can eat shots on the chin, but he has no ground game. And he has no submission game. He has no jiu-jitsu. It's almost like this guy's never been to a class of grappling in his life. Time and time again, I always wonder when he keeps losing these fights by sub or ground and pound or taking to the ground and so forth. I'm like, is this guy going to finally go ahead and take some grappling classes? But time and time again, he doesn't. So Kevin Christian can come out there and sub him. I wouldn't be surprised, but Kevin Christian's a bitch, bro. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to like talk shit, but like, I've watched this guy's fights. He really does not take shots pretty well at all. He does not take shots whatsoever well. And Junior Tafa could, if he approached this fight like he did against Billy Alicana in the first round, where he was piecing him up and really laying down the mustard and not being so weary, he could put out Kevin Christian's lights, guys. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're kind of giving him a layup, because even though Kevin Christian does have submission wins and he does have a jiu-jitsu brown belt, the guy doesn't go engage in takedowns. That's not his thing. He's not a wrestler. And I think that will really play to the side of Junior Tafa. And I think Junior Tafa, being the former heavyweight in this, also has the size advantage. And so we're going to lean Junior Tafa, and I think he's going to go out there and finally secure himself a win against Kevin Christian, knock his lights out, and get a win in front of the Perth crowd. But man, once again, minus 180, Junior Tafa. Can he upset me and break my heart once more? Absolutely. It's fucking Junior Tafa. But wait, there's another blob on this card we're going to have to talk about of how this guy is still in the UFC. But that'll come. Moving up the card, we have Cam Rawson versus Robert Brychek. Cam Rawson is coming off that spectacular KO win against Cody Brundage. On the side of Robert Brychek, he is coming off that win against Brad Tavares by KO, and prior to that, he lost to Ihor Peteria. Ooh, listen, you see it on Tapology, Brychek decision. Why did I pick Brychek in this fight, man? Cam Rawson has really good range management. Cam Rawson has power in his shots, but Cam Rawson also eats shots when it comes to pressure, and he gets pressured against the cage very easy. This is a city kickboxing difficulty and city kickboxing fault that I see in amongst all the fighters. You know, city kickboxing is a gym that Israel Adesanya trains out of, Carlos Ulberg trains out of. What's the unrunning joke? The fleshlight too. What's his name? The motherfucker in flyweight, Kai Kara France trains out of as well. You know, city kickboxing, dude, they have great pull counters, they have really good slips, and they have really good range management, but the issue is they crumble against the cage. And I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you. Though Cody Brundage low-key got ran over in that fight, I'm going to make a crazy statement. He was low-key landing on Cam Rawson, and I can't sit here and bullshit you. He busted up Cam Rawson's nose. He had him a little bit hurt and stunned at one point. You know, I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you. Cam Rawson did not look too great in that fight, especially against a guy like Cody Brundage. And for the hyped prospect that he is, like, dude, he's minus 300 on this fight. For the hyped prospect that he is, I don't think he's that reliable. And Brychek is a heavy-handed boxer. See, he can get dismantled with Cam Rawson's leg kicks and broken down, But the fact of the matter is, if he gets past those leg kicks and is able to even land a couple checks and push Camarauson against the cage, I wouldn't be surprised if he can crumble the tall, slender frame of Camarauson. I wouldn't be surprised if he even introduces a couple takedowns. However, Camarauson is a jiu-jitsu nerd, and that's something very noteworthy in this fight. However, I'm going to lean Brychek by maybe a split robbery 29-28, because the thing with Brychek is his heavy-handedness might break down Camarauson's game. Like, we see Israel Adesanya consistently being on his losing streak, because once you get past his long range and put in the pressure, like, again, a guy like Imavov, not comparing Brychek to these guys, but, you know, in terms of style and pressure, but guys like Imavov and guys like Joe Pyfer, just nonstop, relentless pressure, it gets past their range, and once they get stunned, they get stunned. And that arm swinging shit that they do, man, that leaves you flush to be hit right across the chin and your jaw span. And I'm going to run with Brychek by decision, but this might change later on in the week. I'll be honest with you. It might change later on in the week, because Camarauson, he is pretty good, bro. I'm not going to sit here and diss. Moving up, here we go. We have Tai Tuivasa taking on Louis Sutherland. Are we fucking joking? Tai Tuivasa's back. Great. Tai Tuivasa's back in Western Perth, Australia. 0-6 streak, baby. Let's fucking go. I'm so sick and tired of seeing this motherfucker, man. I got to be honest with you here. Dude, he's also... Before I even get into this fight, man, Tai Tuivasa has jiu-jitsu tattooed across his back. Are we serious? What a midlife crisis this guy's going through at 33 years old, man. He has jiu-jitsu tattooed across his back. Listen. Tai Tuivasa, I just don't think he takes his career super seriously. At one point, this guy was a real prospect. At one point, this guy would have been the guy to be matched up against John Jones if he beat Cyril Gane, which is so crazy, like in an alternate timeline, because that's what the matchup was for pretty much. And he dropped Cyril Gane. People forget, man. Tai Tuivasa, he's got Muay Thai, and he rips beer out of a shoe. Give him another fight. Listen, Tai Tuivasa needs to win this fight. And luckily for him, Louis Sutherland has looked terrible. Louis Sutherland on the regional scene looked like a fucking machine. But you know why? Because he was on the sauce. I'm going to say it how it is, bro. You can see him now, and you can compare him to pictures of him on the regional scene. It is night and day. And Louis Sutherland has gotten chinned. Louis Sutherland also got subbed by Walter Walker by heel hook. And he just looked like shit. And in this fight where it's going to be a full-blown scrap, Tai did look like he wanted to win his last one against that tall motherfucker, Taliesin Teixeira. But obviously the grappling and Tai's like gas tank just broke him down and was not able to do it. But he was putting in hella effort. And if he puts in that effort and pressure into striking and unleashing the crazy combos that he was doing against Taliesin Teixeira and against a guy like Louis Sutherland, he could chin him. He could chin him and finally rip a beer out of a shoe. And I think that's what's going to happen in this fight, man. Louis Sutherland is being, I won't even say being fed to the wolves at this point. It's more or less being like, Tai, we just want you to win in Australia for once. This might be your opportunity to do so. And I think regardless of him winning this fight, you cut him. Because, like, dude, like, let's look through his losses really quickly. I don't want to take this segment on for too long, but, dude, Taliesin Teixeira can. Jairzinho Rozenstruik, he jabbed you for 3 rounds. And he won. That's how he won, bro. And leg kick. Marcin Tybura sub. The big Tybura. Alexander Volkov, respectable. And Cyril Gane. Oh, sorry. Sergey Pavlovich. But Sergey Pavlovich was murder. Listen. It's time for Tai Tuivasa, Big Shuey, Big Bam Bam to go out there and finally secure himself a KO win in West Perth in Australia and rip a fucking Shuey. Because Louis Sutherland's ass, bro. And Louis Sutherland's only hope is, like, you're not going to out-decision Tai Tuivasa. Like, you guys are both heavyweight blobs, but he actually has output. Is chin Tai Tuivasa. But Tai Tuivasa, for all we've seen, he does have a fucking chin, bro. He got put away by the best of the best, and Louis Sutherland is not the best of the best. I think he's a can that does not belong in the UFC. Big Shuey, baby. Let's see. Moving up the card, we have Shamil the Blob Gazayev, my boy, taking on Brando Pericic. Look. My pick here says Brando Pericic by KO, but more and more I've been leaning Shamil Gazayev to take this fight in the 3rd round or decision. Listen, Brando Pericic is a fucking slaughterhouse for the 1st round. Like, he's a slaughterhouse. He hits people like he hits the bag. And what I mean by that is not that type of bag, but what I mean by that is he releases 8-punch combinations. A lot of people, you see these videos and they're bag work and whatnot. And they're releasing these combos, and you see them fighting. They're popping out like 2 shots at a time. You're wondering, where the fuck is this guy? Come on, where's the guy I'm seeing on Instagram? But Brando Pericic is the guy you're seeing on Instagram. Brando Pericic is going out there, the Balkan Bear, releasing heavy barrages on his opponents and chinning them in the first round, dude. Look at this. Chin Louis Sutherland, the great Louis Sutherland, just we were talking about him. Alicia Ellison, Ryan Kenny, and then just a bunch of regional scene. He also lost on the regional scene by sub. But listen, my point being is Shamil is a blob who has no cardio. But for the most part, he has a chin. He also has more ways to win in this fight. You know, this guy's fought 5 rounders, barely. You know, if you wave a fucking cheeseburger in front of him, maybe he'll fight for longer. But what I'm trying to say is this guy's had a lot more experience in the Balkan Bear. This guy is 16 fights in. He's older. He's got the experience. He's got heavy hands as well. See, he really needs to evade the Balkan Bear for 2 minutes, because a lot of people forget, man, no matter how great this guy looks for the first 2 minutes of first round, they can gas out, bro. They're heavyweights, bro. I get that this guy looks like a machine, but their body works against them. And I think that Brando Pericic, that's literally the counter to his style, is survive for the first round. And this guy's going to gas himself out, and you can easily take over. And I've been thinking, man, if Shamil is able to manage his range and just break up those flurries with those mean jabs that he has and pop it out there and bust up Brando Pericic's nose and maybe even dig to the body, he can take over this fight and win it by showing him levels. You know, this might be the Balkan Bear's time. He is in his home turf, but Shamil has a lot of ways to win this fight, and I'm going to lean Shamil. I'm going to lean Shamil by 3rd round finish or by decision. I just think he has more ways to win this fight, bro. In this fight, I can't lie to you. Moving up to the main card, we have the main card opener of excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, Marwan Rahiki against Oli Schmid. Listen, Marwan Rahiki was supposed to fight someone else. I actually do not remember who he was supposed to fight, but he is coming off that spectacular finish win against Harry Hardwick, where he broke Harry Hardwick's jaw, and Harry Hardwick has had it wired shut, which is fucking crazy. But listen, I'm obviously going to pick Marwan Rahiki here, and I'm going to pick him by KO, because the guy he's fighting is a 4-2 25-year-old that just lives in Australia, that they just offered him this fight because they needed someone to accept this fight on a week's notice or whatever. But listen, this is just a little quick rant I'm going to go on. Marwan Rahiki, I don't see him as a prospect a lot of people do see him as. I see him as a crazy offensive weapon, but this guy has no defense. He's really reckless, and he gets pieced up easy, and he can get chinned by a lot of people, because all you need to do is land some counter punches on this guy, because he is so reckless with his shots, man. He spams spinning back kicks. He spams wheel kicks. He just spams a bunch of shit that's gassing. It tires you out. It also leaves you open encounters and get caught flush on the chin, and that's something to watch out for. But I'm obviously going to pick him against a guy who is inexperienced debutant who's had 6 fights against a guy who's in the UFC. You know what I mean? So that's about it. Marwan Rahiki KO first round. Fuck it, bro. Not first round. Fuck it. He likes to warm out. Give him 2 rounds. KO in the second round. Moving up the card, we have Tim Elliott taking on Steve Astro Boy Erceg. Is it me, or am I the only one that thinks it's fucking crazy that Tim Elliott's a plus 300 underdog here after that spectacular win against Kai Asakura? Steve Erceg is a little bit of an anomaly, bro. Steve Erceg came in, he put together some wins, but his greatest win was the great Matt Schnell, and he KO'd him. Matt Schnell's been KO'd by, I don't know, everybody on the roster. But then they gave him a rocky story, shoot up the rankings, and gave him a title shot at Pantoja when he was ranked number 11, when he only put together 3 wins. And what's crazy is he was Pantoja's greatest fight to date, where he took him to a split decision. Pantoja took it in the end, but a lot of people argued it could have gone to Erceg, and if Erceg was not fucking focused on the takedown, he could have won that fight. But then what followed after was him getting chinned by Kai Kara France, and then losing right after to Brandon Moreno by UD, which that loss has aged terribly, especially how Brandon Moreno's been looking. And then had a hard-fought win against O'Day Osborne. I cannot believe he's a minus 400 when Tim Elliott's a veteran of the game. This guy's been around for, 15 years now. Dude, this guy was one of Mighty Mouse's title defenses 15 years ago. it's insane the longevity this guy's had, and it's crazy he's 39 at 125 and still fighting, but this guy has the skill set to upset Usyk. Now, I want to lean Usyk for the sake of, age. We've seen his grappling capability, his striking, he's still putting it together, but it's all right. It's very point style. It's very boxing-esque, which is very good for his style and grappling, but I just feel like Usyk seems like he's lost himself. His style seems so much more sloppy. He seems so unconfident. And Tim Elliott's the fucking type of guy to just lock up a rear naked choke on you, bro. Just jump on you at middle of nowhere if you're being very lazy in this fight. I'm so torn on who to pick on this. A lot of people are making it a no-brainer and picking Steve Usyk, but I kind of leaning Tim Elliott, dude. I can't lie to you, bro. Tim Elliott's grittiness, his desire to win, and it's crazy to chalk it down to desire to win, and I don't want to say that because it's stylistically and analytically false to think about it in that sense, but I think it's kind of important. Where I'm saying is this guy's ferocious in the cage, and push comes to shove, second and third round, if he needs to push it, he needs to push it. And I don't want to bring in personal disputes and personal matters, but Tim Elliott also has talked about how broke he is and how he keeps begging for fights so he can make money. This guy wants to win to feed his family, and I don't know, dude. I just don't think Usyk really has the heart he once did, bro. I feel like he needs to regain his confidence. He might come out there and give us a great performance and regain that confidence, but I don't think so, dude. I mean, Mohamed Mikhaev was even struggling with Tim Elliott. You know what I mean? Tim Elliott's legit, bro. It's just his age. If he was a couple years younger, might have even been a no-brainer. I really don't rate Usyk that well. Other than that one night against Pantoja, he really is not that great, unfortunately. I mean, his win against Ode is what's actually striving me so hard to not pick him, is because in that win, he just looks so unconfident and kind of out physicality, if you know what I mean. So we're gonna have to lean with Tim Elliott, and I think Tim Elliott by submission, bro. Crazy call by me. I don't know. Maybe it'll change come to weigh-ins, and I will put in the weigh-in recap show this week, so tune in for that, but we will see. Moving up the card, we have the co-main event of the evening. We have Beneil Dariush taking on Quinlan Skilland. Listen, man, I don't give a fuck. It says Assyrian down there. This guy's Persian. He's one of us, bro. If you don't know, I'm Persian. This guy's our representative. He's our pride and joy. I love Beneil Dariush. He's a great guy. I cannot ask for someone so much better. Dude, there's nobody better than Beneil Dariush to represent an entire group of people in MMA like Benny, bro. Benny's a great guy. I've watched him throughout his career. He's one of the guys who's inspired me into getting into MMA myself. This guy's a really positive message, and I love him. I love him to death, but I think he's going to get chinned in this fight against a guy like Quinlan Skilland, bro. Dude, they just keep giving him matchups of doom, bro. And I wish that this guy took his career, understandably noticing he's got to fight some guys who are a little bit more stylistically beneficial for him. Maybe even a fucking, dude, Renato Moicano was his last win, and that's a great looking win considering Moicano was knocking out all these young bucks, but Benny's been violently chinned 3 times now, guys. He got chinned by Charles DuBronx. He got murdered by Arman. He got kneed up the middle, left cross, boom. Left hook down. And then he took a short turnaround. He also got, not even a hard punch. It was a clinch punch, not full power behind it. He got hit right above the side of the temple, and he got chinned by BSC in 16 seconds. It really doesn't take much to knock him out anymore. Dude, he's getting up in age. His whole style relies on durability. He's got phenomenal Olympic-level wrestling. He's got mean overhand rights. He's got body kicks of doom. He's got some mean, gritty kickboxing with a side of his, phenomenal grappling, but with his style relying on durability and taking one and giving two and taking you down and so forth, and his old age and how his career has been looking and how other people have just been putting him down like a bag of potatoes, I can't pick him in good conscience, man. I think Quinlan's going to go out there. He's the younger man, bro. He's the younger man, and he's been on a win streak unlike any other, and he's been finishing his opponents in spectacular fashion. He's heavy-handed. He's even got good grappling of his own, so he can negate the takedowns, and he goes out there to finish people. He doesn't go out there to win fights. You know what I mean? He goes out there to finish you, and I think if he lands a mean punch any mean punch on Dariush. It's just longevity, age, and decay. Dariush is going out, and I think Dariush is going out in the first round, and I think he's going to fucking get flatlined. I hope to God I'm wrong. I hope to God everything that Beneil Dariush goes out there and shows his kid levels, but Quinlan's the real deal, man, and he's been waiting for an opportunity to break into our rankings for a long time, and this opportunity presented itself on short notice because he was supposed to be matched up against Manuel Torres, and I think Quinlan's going to take care of that, take advantage of that opportunity, and really make a name for himself in this lightweight division. So Quinlan's skilling by KO in the first round. I hate to pick it, though. I love Benny. Moving up to the main event of the evening, we have Carlos Prates taking on Della Maddalena. And I'm going with Carlos the Nightmare Prates. If you don't know, let me tell you, I've been watching UFC for the past 10 years. You can some people consider that new age. You know, that's early Khabib and McGregor era. But I have never felt this way towards a fighter like I do towards Carlos Prates. No fucking diddy. Listen, bro, Carlos Prates is the sickest motherfucker on the roster. This guy smokes darts, he parties, fucks chicks. This guy's an animal, and he knocks motherfuckers out, dude. He's one of the first fighters in the UFC to ever get a finish using all 8 of his limbs. What a sick fucking statistic. Elbow, kicks, knees. That knee against Charles Radke. Oh my goodness gracious. When this guy fucking knocks people out, they stay out. He doesn't TKO people. He walks off, KOs every single one of his opponents. His only loss being to Ian Gary, where it was actually low-key a back and forth, where Ian Gary was just a step above him. He showed it was just a little bit premature in his career when Ian Gary was able to use the grappling and slow down the striking threat from Carlos. But I think a lot of people forget in the 5th round at the last minute, bro, Carlos almost finished Ian Gary. Carlos has power unlike any other. On top of that, it's not just power, like he has explosive power like Alex Pereira, where he's got meat hooks. The thing about Carlos Prates is he's a pinpoint precision striker. He is so good from no matter what range. He's good with the knees. He's good with the elbows. He's good with popping out that jab, ripping to that body, ripping low kicks. Dude, he's got a mean cross unlike any other, and his hook is disgusting. But what I love about him most is he changes angles 24/7. He's dictating which way we are going around the octagon 24/7. And a guy like JDM, who's so heavy, who's so heavy on his lead leg, dude, he was getting his leg chopped up by Islam Makhachev. And sure, people make it like, oh, Islam's put together his Muay Thai, but he doesn't have Muay Thai like Carlos Prates. Like, let's be for real here, dude. And since this is going to be a pure striking matchup, even though I think JDM's going to try to introduce the grappling, a lot of people are not talking about that. I think that Carlos will chop out that leg, change angles, and I think he will find that precision shot. And I think he's going to light up Della Maddalena and finish him within 2. Maybe even within 1, bro. I think within 2, realistically. Maybe even in the 3rd round. But I think he's going to finish him in the first 3 rounds without a doubt in my mind. I think that Carlos Prates is severely underrated here. I cannot believe they are even odds. I get that JDM was the champion, but dude, he's kind of a paper champion. Like, let's keep it real for a minute, bro. He almost lost to Kevin Holland. Who else did he beat? Almost lost to Basel Hafez. He lost all the rounds against Gilbert Burns, and we saw what happened to Gilbert Burns after this fight, so the win didn't age well. But he almost lost that fight, but he landed a miracle knee up the middle. And then he went to a fucking war decision with Bilal Muhammad, and I think it was great, and I love the fight that he put on. It was super entertaining, but like, let's keep it real, man. He got sparked up 138 times against Bilal Muhammad. Granted, he landed 170 on Bilal Muhammad, but 138 times with Bilal Muhammad, dude. If Carlos Prates can even get a quarter of those numbers, he's gonna find your chin. And I really think Carlos Prates is the real deal. And I think that this is a stylistically bad matchup. A lot of people are talking about how JDM has great combo. He has great ability at putting together combos. It's true, but when you're putting together these combos, you're pushing your weight on your lead leg and going towards your opponent. And a guy like Carlos Prates, who's so springy and changing angles and popping that low kick, it's going to break down your lead leg, and I think that it's going to be harder to put more pop in your shots, harder to string them together, and you're going to leave openings, and Carlos just needs 1, bro, and you're out. And that's why I got to pick my boy Carlos Prates, the Nightmare, by KO in the second round. In the 2nd or 3rd round, Carlos Prates by KO. I am so excited for these card fights, man. I can't lie to you. This is a banger of a card. I gotta stay awake, bro. Get the fuck out of here. I'm staying awake for this card. Well, that's been my entire picks recapped. Lazy MMA, lazy analysis, serious results. Let me know down below who you think is going to win the main event, and please consider liking and subscribing.